Hello, you lovely cups, it's the Drain Lord here, back again with another What If. Now today is part 4 of What If Tanjiro was Kokushibo's son. Now anyway, you guys do seem to enjoy this What If quite a lot. And last time I asked for, actually hold on, let me go quickly check how much I asked for. I asked for 60 likes and you guys got 200, that's triple the amount, I think. Hold on, yeah, that is triple the amount. That's over triple the amount, actually. So today we're doing a bit something different. So I'm gonna have a hashtag on screen, right? If you see this, comment it down below. Let's get to 40 comments on this video. I know it helps boost the video. I want to try something new. And let's get to 30 likes. It's a bit of a balance it out because I was going to ask for 70 likes, but that way it's 40 comments, 30 likes. And let's see if you guys can crush that. Anyway, do join the Discord if you haven't already. And if you're new around here, do like and subscribe because it is fun to have you around. And with that out of the way, let's get into it.
Yeah, you better listen. I'm bringing heat. You'll be a fan when I start rapping. Way I'll have your fucking head spinning. I'm known as spit vicious. Release bombs and go tick tick. Boom, you blow me that head missing. I'm a phenomenon. Stacking cheese like it's Parmesan. 8 different flows, call me Octomom. I'm moving fast like the Autobahn. And I'm independent, so I'm not your fucking starving like it's Ramadan. Sick, twisted, gifted. Can't copy, printed. Can't hold me down. I shape shift, I'm liquid. I killed this beat. I might get convicted. They know how I move.
Tanjiro would get called. As he went over, he found Shinobu and Kanoe. They were casually having a cup of tea whilst Tanjiro walked in. Shinobu poured him a cup of tea as she spoke. "Will you be partaking in the rehabilitation training?" she would ask with a smile. Tanjiro would be confused as he spoke. "Why would you want me to do that?" he'd say with a confused look on his face. "Well, because you might learn a thing or two," Shinobu said with a smile, as she stood up, preparing to leave. She would leave as Kanae and Tanjiro just sat there quietly, until Inosuke barged in, prepared to train. They started his training as Tanjiro just proceeded to observe. He'd realized the trick Kanae was using, simply using her breath constantly. He'd proceed to do the same pretty easily, getting used to it pretty quickly. As he proceeded to train how, she trained it for a few weeks. As he also taught Nezuko, Inosuke, and Zenitsu how to do it. Tanjiro easily broke the gourd that Kanoe broke without a sweat. He'd actually be using Hinokami Kagura to increase his stamina, as using water breathing or moon breathing didn't really do anything. He also needed to get used to the fevers that using Hinokami Kagura brought, but he'd easily get used to this. The Kasugai Crow would fly in and give them their next assignment, which was to assist the Flame Hashira, Kyojuro Rengoku. They'd depart and arrive at a train station. As they boarded the train, moving from wagon to wagon, they'd eventually found a yellow-haired man eating, as he kept repeating the same thing. "Delicious! Delicious! Delicious!" Tanjiro and the others approached the man. Tanjiro would say, "We meet again." The man got up after finishing his food. As he looked at Tanjiro, for a moment his expression changing to that of distrust. But after seeing the boy's eyes, he just extended his hand. "It will be a pleasure working with you," Rengoku would say with a smile. Likewise, Tanjiro would say, shaking his hand. They'd sit down and all of them would have a conversation. Tanjiro would ask Rengoku about the Hinokami Kagura, with Rengoku simply replying that he doesn't know anything about it. Rengoku would bring up the probability of Tanjiro being from an old demon-slaying family, and Tanjiro denies this, because he inherited the dance from his grandfather, and in their family they've only had coal burners running through his mother's side of the family. Of course he explained how his father, of course, taught him breathing styles, but Rengoku already knew that. Rengoku would want to speak, but he would be cut off by a train conductor, as they needed to get their train tickets punched. Although they'd fall asleep because of the blood demon art of the demon, who's controlling the conductors. Tanjiro would be inside of the mountains where his family lived. He'd look around as he noticed the nice weather, before being met by his father. "Father, how are you here?" Tanjiro would ask, confused. "What do you mean, Tanjiro?" We were training, Kokushibo would say as he got into a stance. That's right. I'm learning from my father right now, the boy would say as he went into a kind of trance. All of the demon slayers would be asleep and would have their certain dreams, as kids proceeded to tie rope to their wrists and to the wrists of the demon slayers. They would enter the dreams of the demon slayers. Tanjiro would be fighting his father, as his body still remembered the hours of training he had done in the future. As Tanjiro took a breath, he would fall into an even deeper trance. Hino Kami Kagura. Flame dance, he'd say as he instantly flew towards his father, the latter dodging the first strike but being shocked at Tanjiro's sudden burst of strength. The second strike would come in and Kokushibo would block it. Alright, that's enough for today, he'd say as Tanjiro snapped out of his trance. Quite impressive. Where did you learn that sword form? Kokushibo would ask, his voice trembling slightly. Sorry? I don't know. I don't remember what I just did, the boy would say. Well then, let's freshen up before we go back home, Kokushibo would say as they made their way to a nearby river. Arriving at the river, Tanjiro looked down, as he saw his and his father's reflection. One was him but with his uniform on. The other was his father, although he had 4 more eyes. Wake up! Both reflections would say as Tanjiro snapped out of it. As he quickly stood up. What's wrong, son? Kokushibo would say with a surprised expression. I'm sorry, father, but this is a dream, Tanjiro would say as he looked around for a way out. Hold on, Tanjiro, where are you going? His father would say as Tanjiro was walking away. The boy would turn around as he looked at his father with sad eyes. I know that you're a demon, father, but honestly, I don't care. You are still my father and I love you no matter what others say. So leave everything to me, Tanjiro would say, although Kokushibo didn't say anything and just smiled. Meanwhile, in Tanjiro's subconscious, the boy with tuberculosis would be looking for his soul, as little fragments of fire led him towards Tanjiro's soul. But the boy just collapsed on himself, saying that Tanjiro's soul was too beautiful. Tanjiro would shortly after wake up by cutting himself, as he assessed the situation. He first made sure that Nezuko was alright, but shortly after she'd wake up, she'd burn the ropes binding everyone. Well, looks like you've woken up, a harsh voice said. As Tanjiro looked over, he saw 3 demons standing there, Lower Moon 6, 4, and 3. We have come here to make you an offer, Tanjiro Tsujikuni. Join us and become a demon. Then your father will be abstained from his sins, Lower Moon 6 would say with a crooked smile. Scum, that's all I have to say to you. I'll save my father with my own hands. I won't become a demon that harms people, Tanjiro would say as he drew his sword. Nezuko, keep the people asleep safe, Tanjiro would say as he blitzed towards the demons. He started fighting the 3 Lower Moon. Each time he'd get close to cutting one of their necks, they'd deflect the blow or counterattack together. They're a lot stronger than the Lower Moon 2 that I've beaten before, Tanjiro would think to himself. I see. You got more of that man's blood, didn't you? Tanjiro would say as he took a breath. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Moon breathing, first form, dark moon, evening palace, he'd say as he slashed in a horizontal motion, releasing a lot of chaotic little slashes that would severely injure the demons. They would retreat in an instant using one of the demons' blood demon art. Cowards, Tanjiro would say with a cold tone. As he turned around, the other slayers would wake up. Inosuke, Nezuko, I can smell another demon's scent. Actually, it's all over the train, so I think the train might be a demon. I need you two to take care of this demon. Rengoku, Zenitsu, you should both protect the passengers, and I'll take care of the Lower Moons, Tanjiro would say as he left. The others would do their part, and Tanjiro would be fighting the Lower Moons. Every time they got severely injured, they'd just run away, and Tanjiro would have no choice to do this kind of cat-and-mouse game. Until the train crashed, and he jumped to safety. As he stood, he'd see 4 demons in front of him. I'm sorry, Tanjiro. I couldn't cut his neck, Nezuko would scream from the other side of the train. Finally, the smoke settled and Tanjiro got to look at their faces. 4 lower moons, eh? Fine, come at me, Tanjiro would say as he took a breath. All 4 of the lower moons ran at him, with lower moon 1 now being there as well. He unfused from the train. Tanjiro would think, as the demon was quite a bit stronger now. Meanwhile, Tanjiro could hear fighting on the other side of the train. That must be our backup, Enmu would say with a smirk, which put Tanjiro off. Hinokami Kagura. Dragon Sun Halo Head Dance, Tanjiro would say without hesitation, instantly closing the gap between him and the other demons. But before he could get a hit in, he would be put asleep, as he used his trick to wake up again. This would be a continuous thing until, right before Tanjiro would have cut off Enmu's head, he'd be put to sleep again. This time, Enmu gave Tanjiro a nightmare. You are a pathetic son. You should just roll over and die, a voice would say. Tanjiro turned around to see a battered and beaten Kokushibo. Father? The boy would say, not being able to find the words to speak. You left your family to die, and you haven't even been able to save me. You are a disappointment, Kokushibo would say disappointingly. Instead of being sad, Tanjiro would just clench his fist. As he woke up, his blade would shimmer. In an instant, Enmu's head would be off of his body. Don't you dare put those words in my father's mouth, Tanjiro would say as his eye had turned into something that was closer to that of a demon's. Moon breathing. 15th form. Wailing moons howl, Tanjiro would say as he spinned a full circle, releasing a powerful tornado blade storm. As he killed the lower moons in an instant. Thank you, Tanjiro would say to the bodies that were decaying. Because of you I have become stronger, Tanjiro would say as his blade's right side, which had the moon pattern, had opened up, revealing that the moons were eyes, each eye being red and almost looking like they were on fire. Tanjiro's own left eye had turned into a brighter red, as it was closer to what his actual blade color was, with there definitely being a small pattern in his eye. He would proceed to jump over to the other side of the train. Looking over, he would see Rengoku and Nezuko battling a demon. As the demon was about to strike at Nezuko, Tanjiro would intervene, slicing the demon's arm off in an instant. Well, if it isn't Tanjiro, the demon would say mockingly. As Tanjiro got a good look at the demon, he'd see that his eye would have the number 3 on it. Upper Moon 3, I take it, Tanjiro would say in a cold tone. You are quite correct, although you may know me as Akaza, the demon would say, performing a short bow. You're probably wondering what we did with your father, am I correct? Akaza would say, but before he could finish his sentence, Tanjiro would have his sword at the demon's neck. What did you do to my father? Tanjiro would say with a cold tone, revealing his more demonic side. Akaza would create distance as he kicked Tanjiro away. Well, I haven't done anything yet, although I did take this souvenir, he'd say, revealing some of Kokushibo's haori. Although I might have to cut off a few fingers for pleasure, the demon would gloat. I've heard enough. Die, Tanjiro would say, rushing at Akaza with great speed. Hinokami Kagura, Sunflower Thrust, he'd say, hitting Akaza in the chest as a huge hole opened up. Akaza would try to counterattack, but before he even realized that, his arms would have been cut off. Moon breathing, 3rd form. Loathsome moon chains, Tanjiro would say as he performed 2 massive slashes which left Akaza in a state where only part of his torso remained, and his head. I'm gonna send you off with the first ever attack I learned from my father. Make sure to burn it into your soul, so that you won't forget it in your next life, Tanjiro would say, taking another breath, but at that moment he would cough up blood, as the new power he had just unlocked had hurt his body from overuse. Akaza, taking his chance, would regenerate his body and run away. Come back here, you coward! Tanjiro would say as he coughed up more blood. As he turned around, he would see the sun coming up. Shortly after, he passed out. Anyway, guys, that's where I'm gonna stop part 4 of What If Tanjiro Was Kokushibo's Son. If you like today's part, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you haven't already, click that little bell. It keeps you notified of when I upload, and, that could be helpful. Anyway, with that out of the way, join the Discord if you haven't already. My name is the Dragon Lord, and I'm signing out.
Tell me a story.
There was once a pale man with dark hair who was very lonely.
Why was it lonely?
All things must meet this man, so they shunned him.
Did he chase them all?
He took an axe and split himself in two, right down the middle.
So he would always have a friend.
So he would always